let's see here. This. Alright, and I'll count down from 5. So I'll do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. Hello everyone. I'm SWC19, and I'll be starting off the Smash block with Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So, first thing we're gonna do here is hopefully get pretty okay Mario RNG. Doesn't look great. Come on, buddy. Work with me. So, that's the fastest way to do that. It's kind of just taking Mario, killing him, and then moving on. So now we're gonna have our first arena fight, where kind of just a bunch of stuff's gonna spawn in. We gotta kill them all, and that's really it for this part. There's really not too much to do in this first segment, Mid-Air Stadium. So yeah, I will be reading chat. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know. I'll try my best to answer them. I think I know enough about the game, hopefully. There was a donation incentive for the tag, and OxyClean won that with a whole $1 over nothing else, so that's what I'll be using. So there's a lot of items that like to explode, and that's not good, because if I get hit by them, I also explode. Now we have a first boss fight, PD Piranha. He's kind of annoying. We're just gonna abuse Kirby's strongest move, which is the hammer. And that's the whole fight. Really nothing major there. So that's by the one of the fastest segments in the game. There's really not much to do. It's more of an introduction to the game. So now we're gonna go into Skyworld, where we're gonna meet Pit. And we're kind of just gonna move through the stage. Really not much to talk about yet. There's 3 segments of Skyworld, and the first 2 are kind of boring. So that box is necessary to be broken to move on for some reason. I guess it's just like an introduction to how these boxes work. Now we kind of have like a mandatory fight. It's not so much like an arena fight like I did before. This is rough. Come on. Alright.
$5 donation.
Okay.
Grim Art is saying, "May God bless and heal you. This is my prayer."
Alright, thank you. So that's the second part of Skyworld. And here's the actual fun part. So Pit has a glide. We're going to be abusing glide very heavily in this whole run. So what glide does is you kind of just are able to just go up and down a lot, and you can get a lot of speed, and at the end of the level, if I do it correctly and don't die, which is hopefully not very likely, I can skip an entire fight. It's not going to skip. Yeah, I don't have enough speed. So that's unfortunate. I would mess that skip up. This one's really not a big deal. There's a couple ones later that are very important to skip that save like 40 seconds each. So I'll be trying my best to not mess those up. This is a little rough right now. Alright. Alright, so that's the end of Skyworld. Missing that skip kind of sucks, but it's not really a big deal. Just because the fight was quick. There's a couple later where I'm going to try my best not to skip. Or to skip. Insert reset emoji, basically. I mean, it's a marathon. What can go wrong will go wrong, so it's fine. So now we have the most boring segment of the game, where Sheik runs to the right. Gripping gameplay. There's literally nothing to do here. I don't really know why it's a thing. So now is the actual part of Sea of Clouds here. We're gonna use Sheik again, who's technically not introduced yet. Like, you're technically supposed to use Zelda, but you can still use Sheik here. Like, later on, you are given the option to use Sheik outright, which is weird. But try and run through this guy without him hitting me. He's gonna hit me every time, as is norm. Marathons. All right, 4, any more? There we go. Kind of just make our way through here again. The first part of this run is kind of boring, honestly. It picks up in a little while, but for now it's kind of just running and hitting stuff every once in a while. So now we're gonna have a couple more force fights with generators. So these are these black thing I'm hitting. They spawn enemies. Most of the time they're not a big deal. We're gonna be seeing those a lot later though. Alright, so I hit the generator but not the guy. So if I was lucky, one of those mites, those like yellow things, would have dropped a big mushroom, which would have increased my speed, and would have made this part a lot faster. Also an interesting thing is, I shielded that rock. If that rock was to roll over me again, I would not take damage. I guess it's something with hitboxes, just like only being active once, which is interesting, but I don't really think that'll happen again, anything like that. So now we have jungle. Gonna pick Diddy because he's a little faster than Donkey Kong. And we're gonna run to the right again. Promise there's more actually like good content later, I think. So I'm air dodging after these cannons because if I don't, I'll get kind of just sent to the ground and be put in like a ball animation, which takes a little bit extra time, and it's not useful. So I'm gonna try and do this section fast enough to catch a cycle later on. Should be okay, but sometimes I'm off by like a little bit. Alright, that's fairly good. So I wanted to have that trackball hit the enemies on top there, which I did. They're being a little annoying though. So you can tech that there. It's really hard, and it's like a couple frame input for some reason. So kind of a smaller auto scroller here. I'm gonna be dying with Diddy later on. It really doesn't matter when. There are some setups that are used to kind of advance the auto scroller a little faster, but it's not really a big deal. I could just like damage boost. So something interesting to note about Subspace is the a lot of things are different than kind of just like conventional Brawl. The gravity is increased. A lot of characters' run speeds are either slower or faster. They're kind of like normalized and balanced, which will be apparent later on when I'm using someone like Falcon, who is the second fastest in the game, but it really doesn't seem like that because he's kind of just like really slow. So I'm gonna get up on here, enter the door. Kind of damage boost there. I'm just gonna fall down here, avoid all these electrical things, hit some Goombas, then be done. I find it interesting that the all of the enemies in Subspace are original except Mario enemies. That's not good. That's not good. Alright. Hitting mushrooms is usually not good because it takes a while to like start the animation. But the only like non-unique enemies in this game are Mario enemies, which is interesting because I guess the Kirby enemies didn't get cut. There's a very big Kirby game presence in Subspace, mainly because Sakurai developed this game and he also developed Kirby, so there's a bit of a bias there. The lore of the Subspace is mainly Kirby, Meta Knight, and DDD based. but I'm not really going to go into that because it's extremely convoluted. Or I might, we'll see. So this part's kind of just a runner. There's a couple force fights later on. This part's mainly just good platforming. Alright. A lot of these enemies don't actually have to be fought. Can't say you can do like a pacifist run of this, but you don't have to fight as many enemies as it looks. So these guys I'm just gonna up smash because they're weak. I'm gonna hope for a couple items here. The fireball or the hothead is really helpful because they'll kind of just run around the stage and just do a lot of damage to everyone. That was a scary blast bomb there. Also, having items to throw is fairly helpful too, just because it's a good long-ranged option. And most enemies are weak to like just getting hit. Like once. Shells are good too. They're very strong against like these enemies. So I can probably take out a couple enemies with it. Maybe. So this guy on the right is just gonna walk away. He's really not a big deal. Another one's gonna spawn just because two are supposed to spawn. But we can end that fairly quickly. So something to note is if I walk too far to the right there, I would have died. Just because it takes a bit of time after a force fight is completed to actually like unlock the camera and allow you to progress. So hopefully I won't, but there might be a couple areas where I just keep going right because I think the screen's gonna unlock faster and I just die. But I will try not to. So Rayquaza fight, we're just gonna forward smash with Fox. Pretty much the fastest way. It's kind of boring. He did give me good RNG though. There's a lot of moves that you can use, and he didn't use the ones that are especially bad. We're also going to use Fox in this next segment because he's a lot faster. And because I'm playing on disc, load screens are going to be very long, just because that's how the Wii works, and I guess this game as well. So there's a couple load screens that are extremely long, which is a little annoying, but it happens. Also, another thing is you can buffer inputs. You can buffer a single input through a door, like transition. So what I did there is I buffered a jump. So I jumped as soon as I could out of the door, and then I just up aired to break that bomb block. And that was actually really good. The room normally darkens and it lights up when you hit the bomb, but it didn't. Alright, so this next part's a little more running. It's kind of like a puzzle. It's really not. We're just gonna go through this door, go to the right, kill some Goombas, break a bomb, go back through the door, hit a button, and then we're pretty much done. One more. Alright. So we're gonna go back through this door. Kind of, I don't actually know. It's kind of like a day and night cycle. Not really. I kind of just think of it as like different levels of the map. I think it's kind of like a day and night cycle. Possible. So with the buffer thing, I just buffered a side view there. Kind of just helps with movement a bit. And now we have one of the first long auto-scrollers. This is, there aren't really too many auto-scrollers. There's a couple that are kind of obnoxiously long, but not too bad. I'm also going to be dying with Fox here to get Diddy for later on, because there should be a nice strat that I can do to make the end of the level a lot faster. But it's somewhat RNG dependent. Depends on how the fight goes. Alright. I can kind of just sit here in the reflector, and then all the bullet bills will just be reflected away. Alright, I'm just gonna get out of here. I don't actually think it matters if you kill these Goombas, but I do anyways, just because.
Alrighty, so it looks like we do have another dollar donation from Draglina's. $1 for giving all my best good luck to SWC, even if that means that I get Team Lucas. You get it, my friend. Do your best.
Thank you very much. Alright, so hopefully if Bowser cooperates here, looks like he might be, I can just end the fight. No? Alright. We'll get it, don't worry. You know, that's fine. He'll just end the fight for me, thank you. So what I meant to do there was back throw then down air once he jumped, but didn't work out too great. So here is, I think, the second longest auto-scroller. It's about 2 minutes-ish. It's kind of really boring. I'm gonna try and do a swag strat here. So if you get behind the statue and just walk, you're fine. You can't get hit. You kind of just. Also, the audio thing might be my fault. I put the I'll put Discord audio up. Also, I died. Dying here is not an issue at all. Honestly, it's I have a couple lives that are fine. So yeah, if you walk behind this guy, he'll kind of just clear the path for you, and it's fun. But it's kind of precise in where you have to be and how fast you have to go, so I'm just not really going to worry about it. It doesn't save or lose any time, it just looks cool. The longest auto-scroll is yet to come, but at least that one has a bit of action. That's the one in Glacial Peak with Meta Knight, but it's Meta Knight, so it looks cool. Ruins isn't really too bad. It's more of auto-scrollery fights instead of like an auto-scroll like this. Alright, I'm gonna try and not die here, like not be dumb. So I'll just play it really safe. Because if I die here, it's a game over and I need to restart the whole auto-scroller. Just because I was dumb, so I'm not gonna do that. You can just creep along here. And that'll be the end of the auto-scroller. So right after this, we're going to go into the next boss fight, which is against Porky. And we're going to use Lucas, because his down smash is probably the best. Or we're going to trip. So if you don't know Brawl, tripping is a mechanic where when you start a run, there's a chance that you can just trip and fall. And it's very dumb, and no one really likes it. So I'm going to try and not do that as much as possible. That was pretty good RNG from Porky. There's a bit more running to the right here. There's a skip that I might as well do just because marathon and I'm not too concerned about like having a good time. There really aren't marathon safe and marathon unsafe strats in this game. It's kind of just, they're all fine if you do them or not. There's faster strats, but there's nothing that like if I miss I gain for just like 20 minutes. So I might as well go for the strat. It saves like 10 seconds if I do it optimally, which is not a lot. So that's in the last room of this section. So now we're gonna deal with these ball things that kind of they like to duplicate. But the interesting thing is, in this section, I only have to actually kill the enemies that spawn from the screen and not from another like enemy. I guess it's like something with the trigger, but I mean, you kill them all anyways because they get in your way, and they're a little annoying. All right, so the skip is at the end of this part. If I miss it, I might die. If not, I'll just have to do a fight. If I miss, I'm gonna have to do a fight regardless, but it depends on where I am, if I die or not. So I'm gonna kill these flows, because they're extremely annoying, and screw up the skip, just by being in the way. This one should be the last one. Alright, I missed it. So what I was trying to do there is get on the very edge of the ledge, and just go up and over. But it's kind of precise, and I kind of just threw myself at it, and it wasn't good. But I mean, this fight's very fast, so it's not a big deal if it's missed, honestly. So that's Ruin Zoo. Up next is Battlefield Fortress, which is probably the one of the most reset-heavy portions of the run, for reasons I will explain in a couple minutes. Because there's a couple very important fight skips that are fairly difficult sometimes to pull off. These guys are going to be trying to attack me. Not going to let them have it. Usually that one hits me, but he didn't. So those things with the helmets on are probably one of the worst enemies in the game, just like for being annoying and do a lot of damage. The second most annoying is that those like green things I was killing in the last segment to try and set up the skip. But there's a point where they both come together and become extra annoying. So we'll get that in about 2 hours though. So here's another large arena fight. I'm going to use Marth because up smash is really good for it. I could use Meta Knight, but it really doesn't matter. Marth is like a little faster. So when there's about 1 or 2 enemies left, I'm gonna SD and become Meta Knight, because he's super important for the next part. If I actually connected that last hit, I would have messed up this whole next portion, just because that one enemy hit the other one. But we're good, so I'm gonna go right into these skips. They're fairly difficult, so bear with me. So I'm going to skip over that first fight, trigger this fight, trigger the first fight, let one of these Primids run after me. We're going to wait until he comes. Come on. Come on, bud. Come on. Really not going to do this? Alright, there we go. That was interesting. So we're going to start the auto-scroller, move up a little bit, kill the Primate from the first fight that we re-triggered, and the auto-scroller. Glide over an invisible death plane, which exists for some reason, reset the camera, and then skip the last 2 fights. Alright, I missed that one, so there's going to be little glitchy animations here. Because I missed this fight, the auto-scroller is technically still happening, and we're about to reach the end of it. And I'm gonna die. I'm gonna become Marth and finish the segment. So that happens because I didn't have enough height over the last fight, and it triggered the fight, but because I wasn't in this door in time, the auto-scroller ended. I wasn't in the auto-scroller, so I died, and then I just respawned there because that's where I was, I guess. It's kind of complex, but it saves a lot of time if done, like, fully correctly. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to do that, but if it does, it looks kind of cool. It's just like, you see basically the whole level at once. Alright, this one guy's there. Alright, so there's gonna be one more skip in this level, which saves about 45 seconds, so that's also fairly big. That skip I just did there was auto-scroller skip. That was probably the hardest in the game, I think. Just because there's a lot of steps to it. But having that one guy not follow me was kind of annoying. But that's not a big deal. So like I said before, how everyone's speed was normalized, Marth's was kind of lowered by a lot. So if you kind of like know his speed, you can tell that it's a bit different than like just normal like playing Brawl. But it's extremely apparent with Captain Falcon. Alright, so I'm gonna try and get the skip here, and I think we got it. So that's the end of Battlefield Fortress. That went better than I expected. I expected to miss a couple more than that, but only missing one is fine. So that's probably the hardest, one of the hardest segments, like, technical-wise. So now we're going to pick Yoshi because Link is very bad, and Yoshi has some pretty good movement with his egg roll. Start this fight, end it fairly quickly. Yeah, those boxes are bad spots. So those things in the ground, that thing that like popped out at me. If I was to walk into that, he'd like grab onto me, and it would be a little annoying. Ah. The trips are purely RNG, and they are just annoying. So this next part's kind of all platforming. I'm gonna pretend like I meant to do that damage boost, but kind of didn't. Another important part is to of the egg roll is to cancel it in time, because if you fall off a ledge with it, you're dead, which makes you Link, which sucks because Link is bad. So there's a couple other spots where I'm going to be playing Yoshi and have to kind of keep track of where I am. You can also enter that door with the block in front of it, which is kind of strange. That really doesn't happen a lot. Alright, so we're just going to kind of roll to the end of the level. If I was Link here, this would be a lot worse because Link's mobility is very bad. Alright, last fight for this section. I'm gonna try and throw this guy off. Kind of not in a good spot now, but you can throw these beetle enemies off the stage. Alright. And that's the end of that. So now we're going to enter the Research Facility 1, which is kind of tricky. It's not too difficult. The difficulty kind of ramps up a bit here for like the future levels. There's a couple that are very easy, but more so like the harder levels kind of start now. But even so, this one's not too bad. They kind of just become longer. So now we have Pikachu, who has pretty good mobility, both horizontally and vertically. That's kind of what we're looking for when we pick a character here. If not, it's because they're strong, which is used later on sometimes. do have a force fight here, but it's sort of quick. Enemies can kind of just get dispatched in 1 or 2 hits. Come on. Another something to note is that I'm doing these up smashes while running. If there's an item underneath me, I will grab the item instead and do a dash attack, which is usually not what I mean to do. It's just because I meant to do a up smash and then a dash attack came out. So this is kind of a sequence break. You're supposed to go up to like the top level, trigger that button up there. That thunder I did triggered a button, which enabled the rest of the level to be played. Just because Thunder has a big hitbox above Pikachu. Zero Suit Samus can also do it. And then that button triggered this section with this platform. So now we get about 30 seconds of Pikachu. These things are just not going to hit me at all. So there's a couple things spawning on the walls here. If I hit them early enough, they'll just die with thunder. Alright. So now we're coming up on the end of the level. Kind of. There's one more big climb, then there's another fight, and then that's it. Alright, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. So I waited there because that one Rob would have hit me if I wasn't, if I moved too fast. I'm gonna try and shield these bombs as best as possible so I can just keep moving. And then we have these metal primates, which are interesting because they reflect any projectiles. And are just kind of annoying in general. But that was a really good fight. That's the end of that. So we're going to come back here later for Research Facility 2, which is a lot harder than this. But for now, that's kind of it. Lakeshore is also one of the harder splits just because of this first fight here. There's going to be 2 fights, one with Dark Zelda and the other one with Yoshi and Link. And their AI is kind of annoying. So I'm just going to try and get Zelda over to the left here. Probably not going to cooperate. Maybe. I'm going to jump. You know what? I'm just going to do this. Alright, cool. Bumpers are incredibly good for eliminating any enemy, pretty much. We're not going to see Kirby in-game again for another hour. Honestly. Kirby comes back in Subspace 2, which is very far from here. But, we'll have our Poyo back. Don't worry. That first fight did go pretty okay. Could have gone a little better, but it's not really a big deal. Now that was a very good second fight. Mario kind of helped, but, mainly just being on the side is best there. We don't use Kirby because he's not that good, unfortunately. Alright. We only use Kirby in Subspace 2 because it's required. Sorry. Because lore reasons. That's why he's available then. I thought that would hit him, but I guess not. These enemies are a little annoying. they throw their head at you and they just jump off. Alright, that was good. So these things that I'm holding now are trophy stands. They're used, if you throw them at an enemy, they become a trophy, but they're kind of really bad because they're so slow. So I'm going to try not to get any of them. Hey, we got a trophy. I just can't get it. Am I gonna die? Yeah. Oops. It's not a big deal if I die here because we're just going right to the store and then there's an auto-scroller, so it's fine. I'll try and like only die when it's like not an issue if I do or not. But Mario really isn't that good. He's pretty okay, but Yoshi just has better mobility. At least it's not Link. Link is just bad. Like, his mobility is bad. Like, very, very bad. But again, I mean, if I was Link here, it wouldn't really be a big deal because we're just auto-scrollering, so it's fine. Toon Link is kind of a special case. After you beat Subspace, there's 3 characters that can be unlocked afterwards. It's Jigglypuff, Wolf, and Toon Link. So they're not available in the actual campaign, if you will. There's a couple characters that are unplayable. That includes most of the bosses, or like the bad characters, like Bowser, Wario, Ganon. But Toon Link you need to unlock afterwards, so we don't do that. So Yoshi again is used here, just because pretty good. Can take out these enemies nicely. They're probably going to be annoying later, because we're going to fight those things a lot more. Now it's just about climbing. Other main reason we use Yoshi. So this cycle can't be caught, or like can't get in. Unless you get a mini mushroom, then it's maybe. I'm not actually sure about that. Alright, so I'm gonna roll the end here. Hit some bombs. I'm doing attacks like off of these ledges just because I don't want to grab the ledge. And if you do an attack, you can't grab the ledge, so it's just a safety. So these guys you can only hit when their like heart is exposed, kind of. So kind of just timing. So that's Lakeshore. That was actually a very good segment, just because those fights went so well. More cutscenes. Now we're gonna have Path of the Ruins, where I'm gonna pick Lucas because he has a very, very, very easy skip here. I say that, I'm probably gonna miss it, but it should be honestly free. So I'm gonna jump up on this ledge, jump up more, PK Thunder, and that's the skip. I don't think I've ever actually missed that, like ever since I started doing it, just because it's extremely easy. So if you're double jumping with Lucas and then use that magnet, it'll kind of stop any upward momentum you have and just kind of pause. It's kind of like a double jump cancel, except those aren't in this game. So that's kind of the closest that we have to a double jump cancel. I'm gonna use it later on with Ness as well. Alright, hit these buttons to stop the fire. Platform. That's really it. Again, attacking so I don't grab ledges. Now there's a couple force fights here. This one's easy, I can just F smash a lot. That star is going to be pretty helpful. So these enemies, when you hit them and you do enough damage to them, they grow. But when they're growing, you can't hit them because they're invincible. So what we try and do is we try and kind of stun lock them, so they don't have a chance to grow. And we can just hit them in their smallest form. We're going to be seeing those a lot later too. This fight's kind of weird because a lot of annoying enemies. I'll take that. But with an okay route, it's good. Okay. So now we're just going to run to the right and then have a another mini boss fight against Wario, where we do have an achieve strat for that as well. Just less good. So I'm going to buffer a PK Fire at the start of this fight, hopefully hit him, which I did, and keep hitting him against the wall until he gets to about 60%, or I'll trip. That's not good. Alright, and we can just up smash him. And that should end it. Nice. So that's Path to the Ruins. Now we're going to have Wilds 1, I think. Should be. No. Cave, yeah. I don't actually know like the order of this without looking at my splits. So again, Yoshi, egg roll. That was actually interesting. I carried my momentum from the egg roll into like the dismount. Force fight here. Just gonna up smash these Koopas. If I don't, and they kind of like fall without dying right away, they'll kind of like turn into their shell, which is very bad because then we need to like remove the shell. Like just getting them into their shell is not enough to consider them like defeated. So that might come into play later in Swamp, because there's a kind of annoying fight with those guys. So now we have some moving blocks with holes in them. Not really hard with Yoshi. That strat is consistent every time. Not gonna miss this key. Alright. When I started running this, I always missed that key. Just because I always forgot this room existed because it's so short and like useless. More egg rolls. More climbing. As usual. This is also why Yoshi's best here because he's really good at climbing. Aw. So we're gonna throw those guys out. Wait for these liars to come back. That's really helpful. Okay. Meant to throw that straight down, but that's fine. It's really helpful to have an item you can throw there on those things because it's better than waiting. Also, that this purple fog hurts you, but it doesn't like stop you from moving, so there's really no reason to really hit the button unless you don't want to take damage, which is like whatever, because it's not really a big deal. There's not too many places you can actually die from like being launched here. Alright, and we're at the end of the level now. That'll be that. So that's one of the shorter segments. It's about 2.5, 3 minutes. Fairly easy. Just some annoying platforming. So the Ruins auto-scroller happens in a bit. It is kind of long, now that I think about it. But the first part is kind of nice. I'm gonna try and catch a cycle here. No promises if I get it or not is kind of hard. Alright, that guy didn't mess me up. Alright, barely got it. So basically I walked under that moving wall or whatever it is right before I died. Like if that were to squash me, I would have died right away. And I would have had to be Lucas. Which is fine, but it just loses time. That cycle's kind of hard to hit sometimes. Like, you kind of need to play that section close to perfect. Alright, now we begin the auto-scroller. This section lasts a long time. There's at least stuff to do, like kill mites. But other than that, not really. It at least looks nice. If I was playing on a different difficulty, I think this would go faster. I know some of them do, on like intense or something. Is this the last? There's one more like big auto-scroller, but there are a good amount of auto-scrollers in this run. Nice emotes. There is kind of an auto-scroller skip that I'm gonna do later. But it's not really an entire skip like it was in Battlefield Fortress. That one skipped about 30 seconds of an auto-scroller and it's really helpful. Because if I didn't, I would have to walk more to the left and then do a fight and stuff. That's boring. So I'm gonna die with Squirtle here. We don't really need him. Gonna become Lucas. He's useful later. Gonna eat some stuff on the ground. That's what you're supposed to do. So there's gonna be a bonus door here. I'll try and go through it. And because I went through this, and now I'm gonna just come right back out, that moving platform disappeared. And now we can just fall freely. I'm gonna be doing that again later in Swamp. And it saves a bit of time each time. It's more so like in Swamp, it's more moving the camera up as opposed to removing a platform, but it's still pretty nice. So there's going to be 3 forced fights here, and they're all pretty annoying. So hopefully I can get the good strat on this one, which I did. That's good. Alright, that fight really could not have gone better, just because this guy was here. If you hit him with a fire move, they kind of get bigger. So that helped a lot for these fights. So next section I'm going to be hitting a lot of buttons to raise a bunch of gates. I'm going to be slowing down and then jabbing because it's faster than a dash attack by a little bit. And it also lets me begin a dash later. All challenges in a marathon. Maybe the really, really longathon. We'll see. If I ever do it, I'll probably submit it to that. Because I'm terrible. Also, thanks for good luck, Sammy. So we can kind of just jump into that sheep and then enter the door, because reasons. This Charizard fight is honestly really bad. I'm gonna try and spike him, but Charizard's heavy. Aw, he does have super armor on the up B. Alright, this fight like never goes well. Alright, that'll work, whatever. That's the end of Ruins. It's kind of annoying because that's pretty much the only fight that we don't have a consistent cheese strat on. You can spike him, but it's kind of difficult. Meta Knight continues to be my favorite Fire Emblem character. Because, you know, it's the only place he shows up. Now we can actually, like, use Meta Knight's moveset that isn't a glide. Tornado is very good for horizontal movement, and Meta Knight's just good in general. This up air is stupid. Nair does a lot of damage, but just overall, if we have Meta Knight, we're going to use him. With the exception of that one fight in Battlefield Focus. I think every other time Meta Knight shows up, we use him. Or, like, is available to be picked. So this is one of the cases where the screen doesn't unlock for a while. Not because of that fight, just because of the auto-scroller. So I've died there a couple times just because I thought it would unlock a lot faster than it did. We have more tornado stuff. More bombs. Okay. So, I'm gonna come up here, hit your rad from one of these guys. All the way to the top. Tornado over this fight trigger, and then be done. So there is a skip that was recently found that can just clip you through this mountain to my left, but it's fairly difficult. I actually haven't been able to do it yet. I'd say it was about 10 seconds overall, so it's not really a big skip, but it's there. So now we're just kind of going to glide the rest of the way. To the next auto-scroller. These rocks are a little annoying, but they're not too bad. I mean, they're really easy to avoid. So this next part is, there's going to be 2 giant primates here, and if I can get into the right spot, I should be able to just one-hit them with the down smash. So that's good. Makes those fights a lot faster. These guys are okay sometimes, but sometimes they're a little annoying. Alright. So that's the end of Wiles 1. Kind of. Now we have a boss. Shocking. So the strat for this is just Nair. Okay, it's the best option that's fast out of the 3 characters that I was allowed to pick. Alright, that's that. I think I tripped, as you do. So now we have the shortest segment in the game. We're just going to press side B with Charizard against the same boss we just fought. And, yeah. Enjoy. And hope for good RNG, which I didn't get. So it takes about 6-7 hits. This guy's going to be really bad RNG though. And that's the fight. So that's that entire segment. This segment's about 30 seconds, depending on where you split. So I'm gonna pick Yoshi here, just for the start. Because he's a little better than Pit. And anyone else for this one segment alone. Yeah, we actually are gonna see Kirby again for about 5 seconds. Alright, so now we have an auto-scroller. It's somewhat short. Not really, actually. It's not short. A lot of it just consists of hitting these track balls into blocks. Alright, I really don't feel like playing Yoshi right now. Or Kirby. Sorry. Kinda just really feeling like playing Pit right now. Basically. That's what like half this run is. I mean, like, it's hard because like there's not super good or like insightful commentary I can do during auto-scrollers. I can talk about the subspace lore, but that's a whole big conversation. I might do that later on. Anyways, this auto-scroller is pretty much done. Yeah, just I feel like playing Pit, no other reason. He's totally not useful later on in the level or anything. He's also pretty good in this fight. Oh, literally. Come on. That was a kinda not good glide. Alright, so this is the fake auto-scroller. I'm just gonna glide. Oh, I missed the glide. Oh well, that's not really a big deal. So, what happens if I do this? Oh. So yeah, that skips a fight. It's useful. Obviously. But here's a real auto-scroller. So Pit was useful after all. What a shock. That's fine. That's Wilds too. That went pretty well. Alright, I think I'll talk about the lore during Glacial Peak. Or Swamp, I don't know. We'll see. So Swamp is probably one of the hardest segments in the game, for me at least. I know a lot of people have trouble with it. It's tricky. There's a lot of platforming, there's a lot of easy ways to die. Especially in this next one. Sub 1 Research 2? That's literally not possible. Sub 1 Research 1 is possible. Alright, cool. So, it's mainly about catching that one cycle there, and I could just get to here. So that was that's probably the scariest room in this section. It's kind of hard. Didn't have a big issue with it, but that used to screw me up like infinitely when I was starting to run this game. We already have a subspace tier list actually. There's Meta Knight tier and there's like everyone else is in like kind of used tier. I don't know where it is. It's on Twitter somewhere. So, like I mentioned earlier, I can enter a door, leave, and unfortunately the camera isn't free here, it just moves up a bit, but it still does save time. Yeah, Ducky has the tier list for Subspace. Wait, I did not hit that. What? It was at it. There we go. Hardest enemy in the game, that one bomb block. When you ask a funny question, but there actually is an answer to it. Alright, so this part. Giant Diddy Kong. It's either going to go amazing, or it's going to go very, very bad. Luckily it went well. Alright, thank God. So that's that fight kind of sucks. It's what I did there is I grabbed him on the side, back through him, and then hit him, and it just killed him off the side of the stage. If he was to hit me, I would have died instantly. If I missed the throw, I probably would have had to like reset, and it just reset like my position, and it's just not a fun time. But since we found a consistent strat, it's good. That was weird. I hit that mushroom, but like nothing happened. Huh. Yeah, Luigi's kind of useless. He can be used like once, but he's really not used at all. He's unlocked for lore purposes. I wonder how good Sonic would be in Brawl Minus New Game Plus. He's stupid good against the bosses. I do also run Brawl Minus, the Brawl ROM hack. Kind of. But it's basically just this but faster. Yeah, Bowser's used like once in New Game Plus. So this fight is what I was talking about earlier with the poop shells. If I make a mistake here, they will kind of just be around. It's really annoying. I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah. So that happened. Get rid of that, and we're good. So usually I don't want to get a hammer. Here it doesn't matter too much because this is an auto scroller. Shocking, this game has a lot of them. Haven't already realized. If you're just tuning in, this run has auto scrollers. We'll see Luigi in Great Maze. This is true. For about 5 seconds. Alright, that's the end of Swamp. That segment went pretty well, actually. The Hammer Bro fight in the middle wasn't that good, but the rest was good. Alright, so Research Facility 2. This is, Swamp and Research 2 are probably the, hardest, possibly, outside of, like, Battlefield Fortress. They're some of the most difficult ones. Just because they're long, they're fairly technical, and, they're just difficult in some spots. So there's, this first part's kind of just waiting for this block to fall. Then moving on. Gonna use Samus's down air here to just gain speed. Now we have, let me just hold that thought. Now we have Dark Samus fights, where we're going to be using Pikachu and trying to kill these things as fast as possible. If I didn't fall off the screen there, I would have been good at this stage. Not be annoying. So Thunder sends these guys up. And into the blast zone, question mark. The item play. Good, jeez. Alright, so this fight isn't going too great. It was alright. Not great. Yo, thanks guest for the good luck. So now we're gonna play Samus for a little bit here, and Samus's only purpose is to die, unfortunately. This part's kind of really tricky. Should be okay? Yeah. That's probably the hardest room in the game for me, still. So we're going to hit this button, skip these guys, spinners, whatever they're called. And then we're just gonna jump off. So what that does is it death warps us to this spot, where I can do this. Hopefully not miss this jump. Nice. That's a nice little swag strat. There's a lot safer ways to do that, but I'm comfortable with this. So there's going to be another minor sequence break we do here, where I'm just going to jump up this tunnel. And kind of just skip this whole segment. So the intended strat is to kind of like do a fight, do some other platforming, and then get to that like tunnel area. But we skipped half of it. Now we're gonna move on to the Ridley fight. This guy's probably gonna give me bad RNG, like he always does. Hopefully not, but... Alright, that's the move I wanted to do from the start. It's like one of the best moves for him. Because he just stays in place, of course. So that's the end of Research 2. Next we have some easier segments. Halberd. Nope, not Halberd. I do not know this game. I actually never played this game before. So, like I mentioned earlier, speeds are normalized. Falcon feels very, very sluggish. Even though like Brawl itself is slow, Falcon just feels extra slow right now. Just kind of annoying. But he's still good. He's better than Olimar. Olimar is awful. That cutscene that I skipped is the best in the game, I will say. Oh, okay. Okay. So now we have another arena fight, because that's fun. Ask me doing down smashes here, because they're fairly quick and they're good. Try and take these shooters out first, just because they're really annoying. These things that bring you up, I don't actually have to kill them. If I don't and they just go off to the top, words. If they go off to the top, they just die and are considered defeated. So that's fine. It would be faster to just kill them outright, but you can't always hit them. That's not gonna kill me, is it? I killed the last one, it's fine. So that's the end of that segment. That's another short one as well. Alright, so here's the, this is a movement-heavy beginning. The rest of it's really not. Alright. So if done right, this looks a lot nicer. It's still pretty hard to do. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so here is one of the longest autoscrollers. So, let's give a quick rundown on subspace lore, because I know all of you are really interested in that, and you have nothing else to do while I'm keeping you captive with this autoscroller. So, basically, Taboo is this bad guy who we're gonna see at the end, and nobody knows anything about him. Like, you're not told about anything. DDD somehow finds out about him because when he takes the halberd, none of this is shown in the game. This was only found online on like Smash Dojo. So when DDD overtakes the halberd, he finds out about Taboo's plans to kind of like turn everyone into trophies. Like everyone into trophies, and kind of just like be the ruler or whatever. So DDD finds out about this. He makes these buttons which can turn trophies back into characters or like people or whatever. So none of this is actually mentioned in the game. We only see the buttons and like that they work. So that happens, and then basically other stuff happens. The lore in between that and like Maze, the Great Maze, really doesn't follow any like certain line. Meta Knight's arc is he's trying to get his halberd back because it's his halberd, and what else happens? The most of the enemies are made out of these subspace. I don't know exactly what they're called. They're called like subspace bugs or something. But they're made from the Game & Watches because they're like an infinite source of them. They make the bad enemies. That's it. I don't know. That's enough of it. And then you fight Taboo because he's bad. The end. Hope you enjoyed. I need to get like a better description of subspace lore next time. Come on. Alright, so this Lucario fight is hard. He can either be really good or really not good, and we'll see how it goes. My main strat is going to be to try and down smash him, kind of to the end, but we'll see. Alright, wrong way. Do I want this hammer? Nope, Lucario wants the hammer, I guess. So that's not good, because I really can't do anything. I'll just die. Alright. This fight kind of has a cheese strat, but it's not good. It's not super consistent. Alright, this should be good, dude. Yeah. You've watched the cutscenes with me, you know what it is. I'll submit cutscene % to another marathon eventually. That kind of explains more lore. So this whole section's a whole arena fight. There's a good amount of enemies. That's really all there is to say about it. These guys are being really rude right now.
Thank you again so much for that $30.
You anonymous. That's a hammer. Like I said, hammers aren't too good because it really restricts my movement to Kind of like where I am right now. Oh my god, I don't want this item. There we go. That's fine.
Test. Can stream hear me better than Oni?
Still audio is janky. Alright, so what's next? Albert.
So I'm gonna read the donation again, if possible.
Go ahead.
Since Oni has a very quiet microphone right now. There has been a $30 donation by Anonymous, saying nothing, but thank you so much for that generous donation.
Here, I will, Can you guys hear me okay? Like, am I quiet? Because if it is, then I can just turn up my, my audio. I think you guys can hear me fine. Here, I'll do that. I might be too loud, but we'll see. Next time. So, I picked Snake, I used Dash Attack, that's really all he's good for. Because he was required to be used there. Now we're back to Meta Knight because he's good. Yeah, so, I don't know if you heard either of them, but there is a $30 anonymous donation. There was no note attached. So, thank you, Anonymous, for the third time. So the goal of this area is to destroy generators, break buttons, and that's it. Now there's kind of a force fight here. What I'm going to try and do is just get these guys off screen. It's not really going well, kind of just killing them, which is fine. Sometimes just getting him off screen is faster than killing him, but that seems to work well. This guy just comes out of nowhere. Alright, cool. Alright, that's that. So this is a scary dark section. Wherever am I going? It's, the lights are not required. If you know where you're going, it's fine. So now I need to kill these 5 enemies. This guy's not dying. There we go. So doing that, this looks cool. I hit the Primate into the spinner, and they both die at the same time. So that's kind of just an unnecessary spag strat, but still cool. Just depends on the Primate's location. And here's the hardest part of this segment, the Dark Zelda and Dark Peach fight. So I'm going to be trying to do what I did with Lucario, just like the down smashes. It's going to be easier because there's not really like platforms in the way, but only going to get Zelda right here. Just fine. Unfortunately I have to go this way. Or we can go this way. That's fine. So the AI either like jumps or just does nothing. These guys seem to always just do nothing, which is nice. But that fight can go a lot faster if I can group both of them together and just hit them. So here's the first formal introduction to Sheik, which we totally have not seen earlier or used earlier. So yeah, I don't know who this character is. Brand new to me. Never seen him before. But we have outdoor platforming featuring wind, which is terrible. Just not fun. It always feels like you're fighting against it, which you are. But Sheik is still faster than Peach, so whatever. Okay, am I gonna die? No. So I need to hit that button that like raises the wall here. Let's just go into this horse fight. Sheik is Zelda. I don't know about that. Sheik is Sheik and Zelda is Zelda. I don't know what you're talking about. So here's the force fight. I'm gonna use up smash because it's strongest against these guys. Or up smash, whatever works. Ah. So I can just use a neutral air here, and it should one hit them. If I hit him correctly. I did. The rest of these guys are ignorable. That guy caught me. He's really annoying. Fire's a little annoying. But I got a good pattern. Maybe because I was a little slow. Ooh. That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. So I tried to grab the ledge with my chain, but it missed, and I kind of just died. So Peach here is not very good. Unfortunately. Alright. But that's the end of the level, so it's not a big deal. Have fun with practice. Alright. So I'm gonna try and be abusing a special brawl mechanic called the Dacus, which is dash attack cancel up smash. With Snake it's really good because he just goes sliding and charges up smash, which I did there. It's good because up smash is fairly strong, mobility is really good, and I'm just gonna be using that whenever these guys kind of escape me. I broke my shield, it's fine. Grab this. This item is probably the best for fighting bosses because it does a lot of damage really fast. So that was a very good fight. And that'll be that. So now we're kind of getting into the tail end of the... Actually, I should have picked Samus there. Samus has been working out better for me lately, but it doesn't matter, they're both good. So we're the tail end of the run before Great Maze, and we're going to start with Bomb Factory 1, which is a very short segment. It's a little over a minute. I think it's intended to be more like a puzzle, where you explore like all these different sections, but if we just go down 4, up 1, we'll be set. Just fight these Robs. That was actually really good. Both Samus and Pikachu are good for this level. I found better success with Samus, but it's not really a big deal. Alright, so this is the hardest split in the game, I would say. It's also the longest before Great Maze as a whole, but Subspace Bomb Factory 2 is very long, it's a lot of stuff, it's very easy to die, and it's just really easy to lose time. So I'm picking Falcon because he's strong and kind of fast. I'm gonna try and play it as safe as possible. Start. That's a pretty good start, actually. So we do have another auto-scroller. A couple more after this. Once we get to Maze, the run picks up for the last 30 minutes of it. But it's still good. Because there's no auto-scrollers there. Alright. So that first room's fairly tricky. It's more just staying alive on platforms. Get up here, hit this button, fall back down. So that door needs 3 button presses to become unlocked. There's only 2 of them in the game, the other one's a maze. Both of those enemies combined are terrible. There's gonna be another segment where there's like 4 of each. Alright, now we have the fire part. Do I have to take any hits after that? Never mind. So I'm gonna try damage boost here. Yeah. So if I'd done that correctly, the camera would have moved with me, and I would have just went through all of the fire. But because the camera didn't pan, if I didn't jump when I did, I would have died, which has happened way too many times in runs. It's just kind of reaction now. It is pretty hard to actually get the camera to pan with you. You need to like be at a correct spot on the screen when not taking a lot of damage. It's kind of weird. But because I was in the invincibility frames from hitting the fire before, I wouldn't be able to get hit by it again. So now we have the hardest arena fight in the game. We're gonna pick Falcon because he's good. So let's hope this goes well. These birds you can pick up once they fall to the ground. It's kind of interesting. They're the only enemy you can like actively interact with. How did I get that mushroom? Actually optimal. Now it's kind of just about not dying because I need to keep Falcon for later. Alright, you're gonna turn. The other guy's not running at me. I wish you could. Not want that metal suit. So if this metal suit runs out, I can get a quick kill on these guys before they shut. Alright, nice. I got both of them. So that was a very good fight. And now we kind of start the escape sequence, if you will. Because, more lore. So, the Ancient Minister is kind of seen as the bad guy in Subspace until he has a giant redemption arc where it's revealed that he's a Rob all along. He's kind of just been in control of the Robs that have been blowing up everything and turning things into Subspace, I guess. But he's a nice guy now. And then Ganondorf, who actually is a bad guy, he ordered all those bombs to be blown up. So now we're just escaping so we don't get blown up with it. So 4 auto-scrollers. I believe this is the second to last one. I think. Yeah, no, there's one more after. There's 2 more after this. I believe. Unless I'm missing one. There's at least 2. And one of them's fairly long, so. But yeah, I think that's most of the lore. There's some bombs with Robs and they're bad. The guy who we thought was bad wasn't bad all along. So, oh my god. Please start the auto-scroller. I considered that whole thing like one auto-scroller, so there's still 2 after this, at least. Bombs. Well, the bombs aren't the robs. The robs are required to start the bombs. So technically no. But yes, for the pun, I'll give it to you. Alright, so this jump is a little dumb. Good. Alright, we're good. So now we have the Meta Ridley fight. Gonna kind of buffer a jump right out of this and then just up air. So I'm just mashing both jump and up air at the same time. So I did get that. So I take 4, that's really good. When he comes back, I'm gonna up smash a couple times just because it's strong. Also DK's used here as well. I wanted to get that mushroom, but well, a little late. So Meta Ridley has a couple really annoying moves where he kind of just like brings the ship down with him, and if you're caught on it, you die right away because you skip throwing from the blast zone. So, but that was a very good subspace too, or bomb too, which I'm really happy with. Run started off a little shaky, but it's kind of working well now. So entrance to subspace, we can use anyone who we selected so far. So we use Meta Knight because he's good. And kind of just go through it. Missed the quick kills. We used DK twice in the run. There against Meta Ridley and once in jungle. Just because he's good. But yeah, we would rather use Diddy as well, just because he's faster. Donkey Kong's just used in the less movement heavy parts because he's slow, but he's strong. So these generators are a suggestion. I'm gonna break this one. It'll probably spawn another one. Maybe? The other one did. Alright, this one's not gonna do it. Sometimes they just keep spawning, they don't really care if you broke it or not. So, after this forced fight, I'm going to set up for another skip to skip 3 forced fights, which is really nice. Hopefully I won't die during it. I have multiple times. Oh, that was a little low. Should be good. Yeah. That was almost too low, but we made it. Skip 3 fights, and that's that. So like I mentioned earlier, how DDD made those buttons. Luigi, Ness, and Peach had them. I don't know why Peach isn't here. I think Peach got like taken away or something. Or yeah, it was Peach. So Luigi, Ness got like revived from being trophies. They activated DDDs. DDD loves them. And now we're here. And we can collect as many characters as we want, but we don't actually want any. There's a couple, but they're only that good. So first one we're gonna get is Pokemon Trainer, because Charizard's gonna be used twice. And then the next 2 I'm gonna get here are Marth and Captain Falcon. I'm not actually gonna use them in Great Maze, but they're good for menuing purposes, as you'll see later. They'll give me access to Meta Knight in 1 input as opposed to 2 or more. So it's just helpful. So I got Marth there. Falcon's in the next room. I'm gonna get him off screen. Probably. Oh, that was bad. Okay. Usually I hit the top of those platform, those breakable blocks. That's weird. Come on. Hey, we actually get to use Luigi for the first time in a long time. Anyways, so I got Falcon there. Gonna go through the door here, then just finish off. So basically, Master Hand kind of died, Taboo killed him, and Bowser was Master Hand's minion. So DDD kind of like untrophies Bowser just to fight him again. And the optimal strat there is to just DDD side, like we did with Kirby in the beginning. So we get all of these guys in the team now. And now we get to play Kirby. Finally. Because he's the only one you can use here. So I'm going to get Meta Knight. And now we're done with collecting characters for Great Maze. Couple force fights here. Come on. Alright, and I think this is the last auto-scroller of the game. Should be.
Alright, is this a good time to read a donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So it looks like we do have $62 donation from Anonymous. Thank you again so much, Anonymous donor, for the $62 and continued luck on the run.
Thank you, Anonymous, for the donation. If you still couldn't hear him, then I'll crank that audio up to like max. Alright, so here's our one more fight. Sometimes these guys kind of just fall off on their own. Like that one on the right there. Oh, there's one more. Alright. So these sleds kind of give you a bit of momentum. Like, if you jump after them, you get a little bit extra speed. Alright. This guy's not dying. Should be. Alright, that was a little odd. So what I meant to do was just hammer all of them, but they didn't want me to, I guess. Alright, and that's the end of Subspace. So now we have the hardest segment in the whole game, the Great Maze. Oh boy. So, what the maze is, Taboo kind of just like took every section we've already been in and put it into one big maze. Every boss fight, every character, except for a couple. We gotta fight them all. And it's not long. It's about 35 minutes. So first we're gonna start with PD, and we're gonna move into, there's a bit of order. There's next is Pit, because we're gonna go into Skyworld. And then so on and so forth. So the main strategy here is trying to use up B, which is Meta Knight's shuttle loop, against all these enemies because it's really good and they kind of just drop. So that's what I'm gonna be going for. It's tricky because there's a lot of RNG with the AI. So I'll hope for the best. This is a very movement-heavy area. There's going to be a lot of tornadoes, some glides, and a lot of trying not to die. Because if I die here, it's going to be bad. Because if I have to play as Charizard, he's terrible. And he's used for a couple areas, mainly boss fights, or he's actually... I use him intentionally for one boss fight. Which we'll see in about 5 minutes. So next up is Link. This should be one of the fastest fights if he goes well, which he did. So something really interesting that I do not know why, and like really no one knows why, is a lot of the heavier characters, such as DDD, who else? There's a couple heavy characters that kind of just like die right, or Rob. DDD and Rob are like the main ones. So they're supposed to be heavy, but they die very, very quickly in Maze for some reason, which I don't know why. It might be because Maze sets their difficulty. Maybe it's because I'm on easy mode that like everyone's knockback is worse, but I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll see quick kills on these guys later on. So this is a kind of annoying puzzle-ish segment to get to Yoshi. And he's gonna jump to my left. I'm gonna do that, and he's dead. He can't come back. Because I hit him out of his jump. He can't do another jump. That's how Yoshi works. And that's it. So, that was good. So with Tornado, the more you mash B, the kind of farther you go, like higher you go. So I'm gonna be like, whenever I'm tornadoing, I'm usually gonna be mashing as hard as possible, just to get the maximum distance out of it. Ah, he did get back. Alright, that's fine though. So now that we're done with that area, we're not going to come back. So I'm going to go to this heal door because I'm going to be warping back here very soon. It just eliminates some backtracking. There's going to be a couple warps, or kind of like quits into warps. There's actually only 2, but we'll see those. So after Falcon is Olimar, and then we're going to reset and kind of just come back to where I just was. Falcon's one of the harder fights. For some reason, I'm really not sure why. That's not a good item. Alright, that should be it. I think the hardest fights in this are Falcon, Snake, and Zelda. Partially because of how their stage is set up, partially because of their AI. So we'll see those later. Alright, that's fine. So, I mean, if I died here going for that, it really wouldn't have been a big deal. I think he would have died anyways, but... So I'm just gonna reset. Exit subspace. Come back in. Didn't save my progress, don't have to. Gonna go back to where I was, pick Charizard. I'm only gonna use Charizard for one fight. just because, as we saw earlier, Charizard's very good against bosses. So if I just use side B like I did earlier, I can just take out the boss. Another benefit of this is I don't have to worry about taking damage. As long as I don't die as Charizard, it's fine. Because I'm just going to be dying anyways. Let's do on again. And that's it for Charizard. Unfortunately, I can't die here after the bosses. So I just need to just SD here. That's going to spawn me back with Meta Knight. And as we know, Meta Knight's good. So this section's kind of hard to not take a lot of damage in. Hopefully I won't be too bad. Okay, that was good. So, Snake is kind of like Falcon, a little annoying. He doesn't die right away. He uses recovery. Alright, well, that worked. Sometimes he uses his recovery too late, and because gravity's increased in subspace, I think I mentioned that earlier, he kind of just dies. Alright, so those guys are annoying. So I'm gonna get this key here. I'm gonna issue a warning for headphone users. So for some reason, when you kill a lot of those guys at once, their audio just stacks and it gets really loud. So, alright, he didn't give me a good setup, but no big deal. There's gonna be one more of those stacked audio issues later. Probably. Yeah, that guy always hits me for some reason. His range is amazing. But not really a big deal. Now we're gonna fight ourself, Meta Knight. It's really no big deal. Alright, kinda just gonna glide over this whole area here to get to Ness. Ness should be fairly easy. Sometimes he's bad. Yeah, that's not too good. Luckily, there's a lot of things that combo into a shuttle loop, the up B, so it's really not a big deal if I miss it right away. Kind of just getting through stuff here. I think there's ice physics there or something. It's a little weird. So those sheep are kind of like activated by noise. And it's they're fairly strong. Now we have Porky. Hopefully won't be too bad. Depends on what move he does. That one's fine. It does a lot of damage. I'm gonna heal just to be safe. That one's fine, and also, like, that one probably has a low chance of actually hurting me. That's pretty bad. Oh, that should have killed me, honestly. I got really lucky that I could get away with that. Alright, well I'm healing anyways, it's fine. Might as well just tack another 40% on, whatever. Porky is a kind of a hard fight to get out with little damage done, just because his moves are all really good, and avoiding them is kind of difficult. So if I hop on there and then just leave, I get healed. I also get Squirtle back, because Pokemon Trainer doesn't really matter because I don't need him. So wind physics and gliding is kind of cool. You get hit by a Koopa. Alright, let's see if I can get this. No? Nah, I can't. DK is another one of those light heavies as well. There is a strat where you kind of just ladder him up to the top of the blast zone. And it looks kind of cool, but it depends on what he does. If he jumps at you, you can do it. If not, it's a little harder. Samus is next. I'm gonna try not to go for these risky strats, but sometimes it's safe enough that I can do it. And like I know that I'll hit him. But that's kind of screwed me up in a couple runs, just going for really unsafe stuff and then dying for it. There's a couple spots where dying is the worst thing possible. Some are kind of just like, yeah, you can get your character back soon, but others are just bad. Almost. Pika was almost good, but still was pretty alright. So to the left, there's another heal area. So if I had to heal, I could, but there's really no reason to lose time with only 28% right now. So here's the second of 2 switch doors in the whole game. This climb's a little annoying. Luckily, I can just walk through or jump through that guy. And then if Rob's good here, should be able to take him out with one shuttle loop. There we go. No? Almost. Alright, so that was kind of a slow rough fight, but that's fine. Gonna make a fall here. Alright, so here's the second headphone warning. Hopefully it won't be too bad, but it depends on how I do it. Yeah, it was kind of bad. So that was another kind of sequence break there. I just hit through the wall, or hit through the floor, as opposed to going all the way to the left and getting the key. So Ridley should be alright. Historically, I've gotten okay RNG with Ridley. Sometimes not. Sometimes that almost kills me. Definitely gonna heal again after this just to be safe. Ah, almost. Alright. Yeah, I definitely need to heal after this. Sometimes Ridley gives me really good RNG and doesn't do those moves, but it happens sometimes. Luckily, I'm get spawned right next to a heal door. How convenient. Yes, we have reached our donation goal, which is great. I'm gonna try and get through the segment without taking damage. A little hard, but we'll see. It's good. That bullet bill just spawned out of nowhere, so did the other one. Reasons. I didn't like that. A little slow. That's fine. Oh, there's the damage. I mean, as long as I don't die before Falco, who's going to be in about 3 fights, I'll be okay. Because I do get an opportunity to heal 200% after him, so that's not really a big deal if I take a little bit of damage at least. So the next 2 are going to be DDD, then Falco. Excuse me. So if I do, alright there, that'll be not a big deal. Getting out of that fire area without taking a lot of damage is pretty good though. Because DDD can really end a run, because he's super strong. He's also really light, so sure. Alright, that's not what I meant to do. That is not what I wanted to do at all. So that one spinner has killed me many, many, many times. Just because of where it is. Okay, that works. I meant to shuttle loop him, but I'll hog the edge too. And I will heal, just to be safe. No big deal. These cannons are usually not that good, so it's alright. So Fox likes to open the fight with attack sometimes. Alright, he didn't this time. Sometimes it's really annoying. But that one was pretty alright. He's jumped. Now we have Meta Ridley, where hopefully I won't take too much percent. We'll see how that goes. Alright, he's not gonna let me hit him. That's fine. I can get away with under 40, I'll be okay. That's not very good. I can't hit him. He's gonna shoot some fireballs. That's kind of unfortunate. Ooh, that's rough. Alright, so kinda screwed me over there. I'm gonna heal. Still gonna get spawned right next to a heal door, but if I didn't have to, that'd be better. It's not a big deal though. Healing is safe. Even though I am resetting in 2 fights, I just want to be 100% sure I'll be okay. Or no, I'm not actually. I'm in the wrong spot for that. Nor what I said. So yeah, healing there was a good idea because of some later rooms are going to be really scary. I like that. That was good. Alright, so the next stretch to the next fight is very deadly. And we'll see how it goes. This part's not too bad, the next rooms are. I think it's the next room that's the worst. This one's pretty bad, but it's not terrible. Very slow glides. Alright, this room is the worst. Right? Right. So we have 3 flows, 2 Armites, and we get away without taking any damage. Wow. That's honestly kind of shocking. There we go. There's the damage. So that's a really good entry to this boss fight. So we've already fought this guy twice, but third time's a charm. Alright, so I have the option to heal after this, but I'm not going to because we're going to reset in a couple fights. So I should be okay here. I do need to enter the door though. I'm just not going to heal because it's really not necessary. Yeah, I'll be fine for the next 2 fights, and then I have to reset, but that's fine. These flows don't hit me, that's good. Fight Zelda, who is super difficult. Just because she doesn't die from that, and her recovery is really good. It's kind of just like a matter of I don't want to like approach in the air until I get like a really good position like that, but now we have a kind of callback to an auto-scroller that isn't an auto-scroller anymore. And Peach, and then we will reset. Come on. Get hit, please. Thank you. Alright, Peach is not going to cooperate. There we go. Almost. Alright, that took a little while, but that's fine. There we go. I don't want to take a picture. Okay. So we're gonna leave here, begin the final stretch of maze, and we should be done soon-ish. I don't know exactly where I am right now, like time-wise, but should be about 7-ish minutes, maybe? So resetting there loses maybe 2 seconds if the backtracking is done perfectly, but it's still really safe to do because you get a full heal and don't have to worry about those spikes again. So I'd much rather take the 3-second hit than have a possibility of dying. This hallway looks really intimidating, but it's actually not. Just because I can tornado through like a lot of the stuff. It's really no big deal. These flows are gonna want to screw me up really badly. I will have the chance to heal in a couple fights, but not for a long time. So hopefully these next couple don't go too bad. Wrong way, Wario. Thank you. Next is Luigi. He should be fairly quick, unless he's acting up like usual. Come on. That was a little risky. Would have survived, but I think. Whatever, I'm good. Dying here is the worst place in the maze to die at all, like, because of this next part. This big climb that I'm going to be doing here is terrible with Charizard. Just because his vertical mobility is like nil. But thankfully, so we're good. So now we're gonna fight Rayquaza. I'm gonna try and like get inside of him to down smash. He's gonna use Dig, which is the worst move he could have done. Unfortunately. Still a good fight though. So we're gonna come back to where we pretty much started. I'm gonna warp back to where I was before, right before Wario. And we're gonna fight Lucas, and then Lucario, Ice Climbers, Ike, Marth, Ganon, then Taboo. So we are in the home stretch now. This may look familiar because it's identical to Glacial Peak. That's not what I wanted. You hold jump while you're like jumping. You glide, which is not good, because we don't usually want that type of glide. Shuttle loop glides are a lot faster than the jump glides, I'll call them. That's one of the doors I always forget. Kind of just spits you back into the stadium. Alright, Ice Climbers. Sometimes annoying, sometimes not. That one was good. Assuming they don't belay, they're gonna belay. If they don't do that, it's better. At least now they can't recover. Popo can't recover. Alright. Final 3 fights, and then Taboo. I feel like this maze went really well so far, so I'm excited to see what my final time is. But I'll see that when I get there. I have not been like tracking my time. The only things I've seen were when I reset, so there's that. So he might recover. Sometimes Ike recovers, sometimes he just falls. I don't really know what determines it. AI is kind of funky sometimes. I don't actually think gliding here is good. Really doesn't matter, so I'm going to be going through this door anyways. just to reset that falling ceiling. It's possible to make the cycle. I don't know if it is with Meta Knight. It's very difficult, if so. But we either just wait or go through the door. They're around the same time. Oh, I didn't think that would hit me. So now there's Marth. Should have just grabbed ledge. Alright, and the last fight in Maze is Ganondorf. So, let's hope he doesn't screw me over, because he has multiple times. But this time it's good. Cool. So, that's the end of Maze. Next is going to be Taboo, and then on the last hit of Taboo will be Time. I'll call it. And we're going to use Charizard here, because as we saw earlier, he's really good against bosses. So, hope for good RNG. This is not good RNG. Yeah. So, Taboo has an arsenal of attacks to use, and they're all really bad. That might kill me. That'll probably kill me. Alright. If I'm hit by this, I die. Thankfully I didn't. Ah. Time. So that's Brawl. I'm going to skip the credits because I want to see my in-game time. Might be a 2:14, might be a 2:13 if I'm lucky. If it's a 2:13, that's a PB. Where is it? That's a 2:12. Whoa. So that's a big